Hello, welcome to Chan Draws DOTA, the show where I know or describe characters to Chan and must draw them based solely on my description. This episode's Dark Willow. Dark Willow is a flying fairy plant girl. She's a butterfly-winged elfish fairy girl in plant-based garb. I'm gonna say that, not like an alien. She's a butterfly-winged elfish fairy girl in plant-based garb. She holds a huge lantern in her left hand with her pet wisp inside. And her skin is fleshy pink mostly. It's more red in certain areas. Her head's a bit large, makes her look more childlike and a little bit mischievous. The color of her head skin generally gets darker towards the top of her head. It's pink at the bottom, a little bit red mauvey towards the top. Her head kind of breaks at the sides, behind her ears, and towards the top of her forehead. So the face half of her head is intact, but the back breaks, and there's like long, wide peels of petals or leaves that come out. These are thin, a few inches wide to her fairy scale, a few fairy inches wide, and a fairy foot long. They come towards where her the top back of her head would be, so they vaguely complete, in air quotes, her head, as well as acts as a short hairstyle. They are pink-red, lighter right at the edges. There are two that come over her left forehead break, and these kind of look like big locks of hair, and these ones are orangish red with a bit of yellow lining. There's a magical pink flaming glow coming from her head. Her face is feminine and kind of wide. Got a very small nose, big yellow-green eyes, like the whites of her eyes are yellow-green. She has long purple top eyelashes and dark purple freckles on her cheekbones. She has no eyebrows, but she kind of has a sharp brow, so it's not that weird looking, you don't notice it too much. She has antennae that start at her inner brow, and these go diagonally back towards the top back of her head. So they end up about a fairy foot long or so and are as thick as a fairy's finger. These start skin colored at the base and gradually turn an almost neon orange at the tips. The edges of her face are half broken or a bit cracked looking. She has large upward curving pointy ears, maybe 2 fairy finger lengths long, and she wears star earrings. They have 5 fat dark gray curved star legs and an orange circle in the middle. They kind of look a little bit like turtles. Thought they were turtles at first. She has big old purple butterfly wings with black edges and veins. The forewings and hind wings are completely separate. The hind wings are shorter. It looks like they designed her top to have 2 slits in the back on each shoulder, possibly for both the fore and the hind wings, but they don't actually use those. The wings just clip through her clothes instead. She's wearing a short plant green dress that breaks into large, even leaves above her waist. The leaves are yellow at the edges, and there's 3 layers of these, which form the bottom of the dress. It just barely covers her waist. They curve outwards somewhat, giving it a little flare. The dress is pretty short. It wouldn't pass the fingertip length test. Overall, it kind of gives Peter Pan vibes. It's like green top and a red head. She's wearing, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a capelet or something. It's like the top half of a vest, but it also has big, long coattails. This is purple with orangish brown lining, and it's held together at the top button area by a gold ring, about a fairy finger in diameter. And this is at her upper chest. It has a big, wide, raised orange collar. She has large, plump, juicy shoulder guards. They kind of look like upside down, pointy purple flowers, like layers of large, sharp petals. These are more pink at the edge of the petals. Her coattails are very long and wide. They would reach her feet if they didn't stick backwards stiffly, like the writing on top of an invisible bee abdomen. They're purple with gold-green lining / details. Coming off both the tops of her forearms, there are 3 red leaves, or like tendrils, about 1 fairy finger long by 2 fairy fingers wide. Each arm has one near her wrist and the other two near her elbow. Hanging at her right hip, she has a big, dark, purple, thorny vine circle, like wreath, or maybe a rolled up whip. I don't know, it's just a circle. It's not attached by anything in particular, it's just stuck there. There are 6 pointy red thorns evenly spaced around it, angled like a buzzsaw. She also has a vine on her torso, diagonally bandolier style. It's like a left shoulder to right hip. This one's a bit thorny, but it doesn't have the buzzsaw thorns. Her legs are green at the top and slowly turn purple at the knees and feet. She also has a bunch of vertical branching veins. They're red at the bottom and light green at the top. She's wearing sassy little heeled boots. The tongue comes up in an upward, forward arching leaf shape. She probably doesn't even need to wear shoes because she can fly everywhere, but they look pretty good, so whatever. In her left hand, she holds a huge, gnarled wood lantern. She's holding it by a wooden hook at the top. It's 5-sided, but there's no glass. It looks pokey. There are pokey, sticky parts poking out in places at various fairy finger lengths, and there's green moss covering parts of the bottom half. Her pet wisp, Jax, is in the lantern as the light source, shining bright pink with like a dark purple cloud around it. Jax looks like an evil snitch from Quidditch, from the Harry Potter and the from Harry Potter and the Stranger of Secrets. It looks like a snitch in that it is a little winged purple ball with tiny little purple arms and little purple wings. The wings are structured like hers. It has 4 hind wings. It also has a white Majora's Mask face and a little white mohawk. And that's Jax, and that's Dark Willow. She's a flying, planty Peter Pan fairy. We should put in a counter for all the times I refer to fairy fingers. Or we should just, I'm just gonna add this in at the end. The fairy fingers are like really long, like yardstick length long, and add that in at the end. And then just make Chan redo the entire thing and change all her dimensions. Like her dress is touching the floor.
So I'm gonna play it now. So we got no, I can't tell how close this is. Okay, so I need to compare them. I think mine's like generally just more colorful,
rich,
which I'm sort of surprised. I would have thought they would go for like really bright colors for a fairy character. I couldn't remember if Noah said a color for her boots. I just did red. I really like the original head. The way it splits is a lot more interesting than I thought.
I can't stay in one place too long.
I like her voice. Oh, I didn't even look at the wisp. I basically drew a fairy from Zelda. I think that's pretty much all I did. The eyes are actually pretty close. I mean, anything with a human face is gonna take me a while. I don't know, I really like the original design. Mine looks like Disney version of it.
I don't know, with like yours head makes it look, and since the colors are darker, it kind of looks like a horror almost.
I think that did happen. It does. I was thinking it sort of started looking like something exploding out of the back of her head, but she's like fine with it. I mean, you can tell what character I'm going for, I think. Her head's freaking messed up.
Back to his midsection, which is the next chapter in Noah's tips. He wears a purple belt with dark runes, and his belt buckle is like this bizarrely detailed pink cartoon monster man.